Welcome to the Calm Waves podcast. I'm your host, Dallas Cowan. Dr. Doug is not here today. Here I am joined by Ethan Harris. He is a good friend. Love that I can call him a good friend. Just somebody to do life with, but also bringing him here on today, not only is he a great human being, but he is also training to be in the Olympics, which is just, for me, as you know, my story of being, I had my baseball career in college and was kind of done, but having somebody who's actively training to be on the Olympic team, I think it's just so cool, and I just love it. So, Ethan, thank you for joining me here today. Thank you for coming on the podcast. So thank you for being here. I wanted to kind of jump right into your story and just your background, kind of your origin story of how, where you grew up, and also, what made you want to say, I want to try to be on the Olympic team.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dallas. I don't know how much you even know about my background, but up until sophomore year of college, I wanted to play basketball. So up through that point, I was trying to play basketball at first at Grand Canyon University, transferred to a D2 out in Colorado because I had a few connections out there. Headed out there, and then the coach didn't want me, so had to pivot, and I thought I was just going to be pivoting to not playing sports, but met this really cool guy. His name's D'Angelo Foster. He's a track athlete. He ran track at Colorado Mesa, and we played pickup basketball together pretty often. Mm-hmm. And we kind of built this relationship, and he's like, hey, what sport do you play here? Like, you're really athletic. Just curious. And I told him, I'm trying to make this basketball team, but it's not really working out for me. I guess 3 strikes and you're out. Tried with 2 different coaches at Colorado Mesa, and he was like, well, let me try to get you on the track team. So he just sent a video of me dunking to the coach and was like, hey, I got a new jumper for us. Like, we should give him a shot. And the coach was like, all right, we'll get him started on Monday. This is like Friday. So like 3 days later, I'm on the track team at this Division II NCAA school, and the coach starts telling me like, oh, I think you're going to jump like 6'8" this year, and I think you're going to jump like 7 foot in your career. And I was like, man, this is not at all what I expected. I high jumped a little bit in high school because people told me if I high jumped, then I'd jump higher for basketball. Mm-hmm. So I did that and just went to some meets and jumped like 6'3". So I figured that was about what my cap was, and then started jumping, and my second meet ended up jumping 7 foot. So after that, I think I knew that I should take it seriously enough to at least figure out where I could end up.
And I also think about when we talk about like jumping 7 foot, like I look at 7 feet and I go, I can't even like that's really high. And just to be able to say, oh, I'm going to jump that. I'm going to do that is so impressive in of itself, of that kind of feat, to be able to do that. Let's go back to kind of the rejection side of things. How was that for you? I mean, I personally have been told not to play certain places, of like, oh, you're not good enough to be here, kind of a thing. So how was that for you of processing that, of going from basketball to like another sport?
Yeah, I think when I was playing basketball, I had heard that so much. I went to a Christian high school that was just really small and like didn't bring any talent out of it, and just like consistently was told like, oh, you're never going to make a team, and just kind of tuned that out. But I think when I transferred it over to thinking about track, I really was risk adverse. I even told D'Angelo when I was starting track, like I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to try to do this. I'm pretty burnt out from trying to make a team. And he's like, if I can get you on the team, will you? And I was like, yeah, sure. Okay, you can go ahead and try. And then it really worked out, I guess, if that answers your question.
Yeah. Did you feel like, did you have some like kind of a gun shy kind of a thing of like, oh, is this just going to be another time of like me, like, I don't know if this is going to work out again?
Yeah, definitely. And it was with basketball is over and over and over again, but it was like my first love. I was going to pursue it no matter what.
Mm.
And when it was this other thing that I had no affection towards, no like excitement towards, I was like, why am I going to get rejected from something that I don't even want to do?
Yeah. What was that moment when you were kind of like, oh, I could be good at this? Because
Yeah, I think.
you were a national
Go
champion
ahead.
too. Not to give up the not to spoil the story, but you were a national champion at one point.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
that
like so,
was that was first year D2.
yeah. Like that's a huge deal in and of itself. So what point were you like, wow, I actually have like a shot at this. Like I can actually do this.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I've, especially in track, I've had kind of sprinkles of that throughout the story.
Hmm.
I think the first incidents was my coach being like, "I think you're going to jump 7 foot," and then I jumped 7 foot that second meet, and I was like, "Well, I should at least take this seriously. I don't know if I'm going to be any good, but we'll give it a go."
For
Um,
context for the listeners and myself,
yeah.
what is like world class? Like what is like I know you're training to be Olympics. I've got the number, I think the number of what your record is here. I think I
Mhm.
have it here. But what is like Olympian status type of thing?
Yeah. The Olympic standard is 7.7 3/4. That's exceptional, and only a quarter to half of the Olympians actually jump that high. The rest is based on world ranking. So probably like 20 or less people in the world will jump 7.7 any given year.
Wow. And you were going, well, I just did my second meet and I'm only 7 inches off.
Right. Which is a big 7 inches, but yes,
But
only seven
still,
inches off.
yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's
So yeah, to go back to it, jumped to 7 foot, and I was like, okay,
mhm.
I should probably give this thing a shot, and went to indoor nationals, and the guy that won nationals came up to me and told me, hey, you're gonna have your shot, and I like had no idea what he meant by that because I was just this guy that had just started tracking, and then he tells me that, and I was like, that's pretty cool. We had two national champions on our team as well that kept saying like, oh, you're gonna join us as the next national champion on the team. And then going into outdoor, my coach every single practice would tell me that I'm the best jumper in the nation. And it started with like, of course you're gonna tell me this, like you're my coach. And then by the time we got to the nationals, I was like, man, if I have to jump 7.3, the number was 2.2 meters, but converted at 7.3
Mhm.
to win this thing. Like I think I can jump that, and that's actually what ended up winning nationals that year.
Wow. What was your I mean, as you're going to nationals, you've got a coach that's just encouraging you, going, "Nope, I believe in this. You can do this." Um, Going
Hmm.
into that national champion jump, was it like a out of body experience, or was it a I knew I was in control the whole time? Like, walk me
Hmm.
through that type of like that experience.
Yeah, it was interesting. Showing up, I was in this like really focused, confident flow state of like I'm ready to go out there. I have visualized this, and not like any like techniques of like, oh, I'm trying to visualize victory, but like I could see it clearly. And then I got on the track, started warming up, and did not feel good at all. Kind of like sunk into this like, man, I might have a terrible day today, and like I'm just gonna give it my best, and if I don't even get over a bar, like I guess that's okay because that's just how the warm up was going. And then we got on the track and actually started the competition, and each jump was a little bit more like, okay, actually maybe we can make this happen. And remember just like missing no jumps up until like 7 foot, and then missed a height. You get 3 attempts at each height, and missed the first attempt on one of them, and then went clean the rest of the meet up until that last height. So, um, yeah, kind of a in flow state, and then kicked out of flow state, and then back in there.
Did you do anything to get back into it, or were you just kind of like, I'm just moving?
It was an interesting resignation to, I can't control how high I'm going to jump today, so I might as well just focus on
Hmm.
everything leading up to that.
Hmm.
Just like I guess, process oriented, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's you can't. It's like you can only control what you can control, and they talk about with that with pitching or hitting or anything like that. And if you can just focus on, that process that you do, and like the results are the results. Let's see what happens. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a great mindset just to be. Even when you're like, I'm gonna have it, I might have an awful day today. Let's see what happens, how this goes, but being very, hey, I know my process, I know what I need to do. With that process of going into a new sport, was that something you could take from basketball, or was that something you had to relearn through this new coach?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Um, I think parts of it transitioned over and translated. In basketball, you have this like every single game, you have this metric of am I getting better or not? Like typically
Mhm.
players will like throughout their career score more points and more points, and then you have like every single time you can have all the statistics to measure it. In track, you only have one, so you have high jump, like how high did you jump, right? There's
Mhm.
not like how fast did I run or like how much force did I exert. There's just the at the end of the competition, what what did it say on the
Mhm.
scoreboard, right? So that was a huge adjustment for me because I think in basketball I could go, oh, I didn't score as many points, but I had a lot of rebounds and assists,
Mhm.
or like this was a bad game, right? Where in track it's like I've been doing this now for 5.5 years, and I've only PR'd 4 times.
Wow. Yeah.
So the adjustment to getting better, um, that took a while.
That's the long game. When people talk about the long game of trying to, do things for longevity rather than the short sprints, or trying to get feedback loop. It's a very long feedback loop. It's not a very
Hmm.
short. Trying to
Hmm.
get better at. And then you're totally right with that. Is you can have those short feedback loops of game to game and adjustments jump, but it's kind of like a pass fail. It's like I did good or I didn't do good. Not well, let me pull from other things. Like my I ran faster today. I just didn't have the trajectory this way. It's just, did I do it
Hmm.
or not?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. So
And
you
from
go.
there, I think learning qualitative metrics of like how did I feel? How was the routine? Like did everything feel right?
Mm-hmm.
Is something that you get way more acquainted with
Okay.
in that atmosphere where it's like you only have one number to go based on. Like you really have to reach into like what felt right and what didn't.
Wow. That is, yeah, something I haven't actually really thought about. But yeah, that's huge of trying to, yeah, just work on that um, process. Just really focus on the process and go, did I do well, and understand my process really well. Speaking of process, going into and we'll go, yeah, we'll go into that a little bit later, probably copy and pasting, which I like, which you have said to me before. But keep going with your story of going from D2 to kind of like where you are today.
Yeah. A couple months before the D2 national championships, I was ranked like I think 15 in the NCAA, and I made the decision to uh, transfer over to Grand Canyon University. Like completely aside from any track things, like obviously it's a D1 university, but decided to like pursue growth opportunities because I didn't feel like I had a whole lot of that at the college I was at, as well as like spiritual opportunities. I was not growing with the Lord, and that
Mm-hmm.
was super important to me. So I approached my coaches about that, and um, one went really positively, one did not go positively. But at the end of the day, it was just like, all right, let's finish our work here. Like, let's let's get to this national championship, and see what we can make of it. Obviously, the result. It was awesome. And after that meet, it was just like, wow, this is so bittersweet. Like, me and my coach, we did it. We made it happen. We won a national championship, and it's like, okay, like that was the season finale, and it was like the last season of this school, right? And then like had a really bittersweet goodbye with him, really close to Coach John, and then transferred to GCU and kind of started this new like, okay, like what does it look like to be a track athlete, but also like that be the number two thing besides like following the Lord. It was really cool. I think in ways it was hard because I spent so much time on the track that I was like, man, I like want this to be my number one thing because it's like the one thing I'm focusing on. But in another way, it was super freeing because I was like, wow, like what I do on the track, it actually doesn't matter. And if I can just give glory to the Lord, then like that's going to be awesome. It's going to be like such a cool like story to tell and just like such a cool story to be a part of.
Absolutely. What do you think was that shift for you? Like when do you think, I know going to GCU, but when was it when you were like, oh, this is actually my second priority? Because I think, priorities shift all the time, like being able to, always checking yourself going, hey, time can be an issue or, thought process. But when was it for you that you were like, oh yeah, the Lord's number one, track's number two?
Yeah, I think I would tell you pretty much every step of the way, like God's number one, track's number two. But I think when I made the decision to go to GCU in March, that's when the metrics started shifting. I guess the priority started to shift. Not that it was the number one thing yet, but that's when it started moving that direction.
It was the first
I
action.
think
You took an action to go,
yeah,
yep, this is what I want. And so I'm going to make an action in order to get there.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And I think it became number two when I sought out like how do I use this platform for the Lord, and got some mentorship from the GCU Young Life director. His name's Ryan Buskirk, and he's like, I reached out to him and asked him like, hey, I want to start a Bible study and I want to like give glory to God above all else in this sport, but I really don't know how to do that. And he's like, come to my Bible study. I'll teach you how to do all this stuff. We actually have a system and a framework to be able to do that. And just know that like you are capable and you are equipped to lead in this like setting. Because I think for a while I was just like I feel like people that lead Bible studies and people that don't. And there's just like you can go to them or you can lead them, and you're not like both of those. Kind of a limiting belief there. And then Buskirk really like opened my eyes to like just like track. I wasn't a track athlete, now I am. I can train this thing. I can train this muscle. So then I think when I started showing up to practice to go, oh, I'm actually like the Christian on the team that wants to care for these people. It completely flipped everything on its head, where it's like, wow, I actually want to show up to practice and encourage and pour into people, and then I want to get better and lead by example. Whereas before I was like, I'm here to get better and like I want to be positive.
That's great. So you kind of answered the question for me. I was going to ask you what changed for you being in your training process. But I think what you said was you actually showed up for people kind of externally. How do I love on people? How do I encourage them? And then I can go do my work. But it's almost more of like a optics kind of a thing of your world opens up a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely right. Which in retrospect now, training post-collegiately was like seemed like a difficult shift, but it was like the easiest shift ever because I'm super people motivated. So me shifting from like I want to get better to like I want to love these people and lead by example was like the easiest shift ever. Being post-collegiate now and like training on my own a lot of the time, now I'm like, wow, this is really like this really feels hard and like obedient sometimes to show up to practice.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. Going back to kind of the what you learned through that process at Young Life. It was Young Life, right?
Young Life, yeah.
Yeah, Young Life. What was anything else that you learned from there? If you're an athlete that's out there, a college athlete that wants to show up more in the sense of faith focused, kind of craft second type of person. What any other things that you picked up from there that you would want to share?
Yeah, I think there were some really simple things that like resonated the most true for me. I felt like, man, I had to like have the whole game plan lined out before we could start play one. I think play one is just like showing up, being present, and like taking that next step. Take the next step. Yeah, for me it was just like I'm gonna start telling people that I'm running a Bible study and it's starting on this day. And then something that Buzzkirk does that's like kind of blew my mind, and I had not seen a whole lot in a leader that's in his type of setting, is just leading with vulnerability. And every time that we show up, he's ready to let us know exactly what's going on in his life and how he is learning and struggling and just trusting the Lord through it. And I think that made it a lot easier for me to just go, oh, like I don't have to be this leader that shows up and has every Bible verse memorized or whatnot. I can just show up and be the guy that's learning how to lead a Bible study.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that your like genuine motives will show through.
Yeah, I always think about that from like, what does leadership look like? And most leaders most leaders that I tend to gravitate toward don't have it all together. And I said that vulnerability standpoint of like still learning, still trying to figure it out. I remember there's a pitching coach that I love, Coach Zinger. He's great. He's here in Scottsdale. And we were showing some stuff, some brain stuff as we were going through it. And he's trained, 200 Major League Baseball players. I've watched his videos. He's kind of a, guru in the pitching world. And so we're trying to show him some brain stuff. And I can't, like, he came in and he just said, my cup is empty. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, thinking that I have to, he's going to come in with some answers and he's going to know what's going on. And that like changed the way I want to come into every meeting, and every person I kind of show up with is like, my cup is empty. Like, I'm here, I'm just learning just like you guys. Like, doesn't matter what my craft is, what I've done, how much of the Bible I've read, but if I can come in with a sense of humility and my cup is empty, that I'm learning, those are the leaders that I seem to gravitate towards, in those types of settings.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've heard like the moment you stop learning is the moment that you start losing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's
like
you
have to always be adapting, and like if you're not learning, then like what's the point?
Correct. And going through, my dad and I have been going through Proverbs, and part of it has been, the biggest thing is pride. Pride goes before the fall. Like that, that's the biggest thing, and it can come out in different ways. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know how to hit the ball. I know how to do all these different things. But yeah, the guys who are always learning, are always willing to sit in, ask questions, and be present. Like you said, be present with other people and really learn how to do it. Those are the people that have the most impact. But people who come in with an agenda, or people who come in with some sort of, oh, I know what's going to happen next, and I know who you are. Those are the people that, you turn people off really, really fast for that. So that's great. I love that. Okay, from that point on, let's keep going with your story a little bit. That point on, GCU to today, Fill in the gaps for me.
Yeah. So I went to GCU. First year at GCU was COVID, so had a little bit of a short season there. It just interrupted, and like I guess in the grand scheme of things, didn't make a huge impact. It was just like, okay, status quo. Like we gotta keep training. It almost felt like blessed to have more time to make it happen, because all of us were gifted another season. So came back and trained through the 2021 season, and had this like super strong desire of like, man, I should really lead this Bible study. This is before connecting with Ryan Buskirk, and it was really super easy to make the excuse of like, oh, like we shouldn't be congregating, like we have all these rules around like how many people can be together. But at the end of the day, it's like we're all showing up at practice together. Like, what's different about that and leading a Bible study, right? But kind of just fell into that, like, okay, like it's way easier to just like not do this thing. And I could talk to a few people, and they're like, I don't know if that's a good idea with COVID and just like all the regulations. And I was like, okay, perfect. Like it's off my shoulders. I don't need to do this thing. Like the burden is off of me. And then trained through that season. 2021 ended up jumping 7'5" at a meet, and like would love to tell you the experience of that whole meet, and it just felt so different than anything that I've ever experienced in my life. And then the next season is when I started that Bible study, and that summer was like, all right, it's go time. Like I got to train for this just like I had to train for track. So trained for that throughout the summer, and then fall started the Bible study. But yeah, I would love to tell you about the experience jumping in Tucson and qualifying for the Olympic trials. Yeah,
Go.
so leading into that, it was like 3 meets before NCAA's. So we were like, okay, like we gotta make sure that our routine is getting dialed in and just get consistent with it. Like what height do we want to come in at? What's the pre-game routine? And just felt super dialed on that. Before the meet, I would do my like general warm up, go to my physio, my personal trainer, and then they would like do stretches and just releases, and that'd just be kind of like a rest time while I get to talk to them, and have the body like just loosened up, and then spent like 15 minutes praying before the meet, and during that time I just was listening to this song by Maverick City called Communion, and just felt like, man, like whatever happens this meet, like I am so extremely beyond words loved by Christ. I was like, if I PR today, or if I know height, like it's gonna be okay. And I was facing a national champion that night, and then I was facing the number one high jumper in Arizona, and I was like, okay, the competition's there. We're at that time in the season where like cool things can happen, and like I'm just in this like so free. So then go out and start warming up, and I'm like, man, I feel strong, I feel fast, like this is going to be a good night. Like rather in contrast to the national championship meet where I was like, I'm locked in and then I'm not, and then I'm locked in again. Like this one was like, whoa, like I might not PR tonight, and that's okay if I don't, but like this is the best chance that I will have had up to this time. And started jumping, and like was not missing any heights, and ended up missing a height at like 7'1", which was like an inch below my PR. Cleared that, cleared 7'3.5", which was a PR, and then cleared 7'5", all in the first attempt. So won the competition. These guys were like, who is this guy? Like, where is he coming from? And then ended up qualifying for the Olympic trials. And I think I was ranked 6th in the world at the time.
Wow. I mean, your story reminds me so much of, did you ever see the movie Chariots of Fire?
I have. It's been a while.
So I recommend anybody to watch this as one of the best soundtracks ever. It's timeless.
Hmm.
But one of the guys who runs, I just remember I was quote this is he ran for the to in the to please, not to please God, but in praise of God. Like that, you have these two characters, these two contrasts. One guy who is doing it for himself, and the other one who's doing it for God. And there are these moments in there of him just running and just smile on his face, and he's running in the Olympics, and he just goes, "This is just all to who God is." I remember I always like to quote this one. My wife loves it when I quote this one because I always say it. But it's his sister is talking to him, and he's like, and the guy's supposed to be a missionary. He's a pastor. Like, he's like, why aren't you being a missionary? Why aren't you doing this? And he goes, well, God made me for a purpose, but he also made me fast. So he uses
yeah, I've heard you say that a couple times.
Yes. So it's one of my favorite ones because I get to use that accent too. And so I just think about that when you're out there of just doing, like, going, whatever happens, happens. And the freedom of that. And you happen to PR and have have recognition for it. But that where the recognition actually goes. So that is so cool.
Which gets tricky. Because after that you go, whoa, I jump highest when I'm glorifying God, which is totally true. But you have to fight this like motive of like, oh, I want to do this for God so that I jump higher.
Yeah.
That gets a little cumbersome.
Yeah, that is a very good point where it's almost like a bartering system of, hey, God, I'm praising you, therefore you need to do this for me, right? Like that's how it works. But you were able to unlock more of the, hey, whatever happens, happens. And if you have that attitude, then it happened, and you're going to go, okay, whatever happens, happens next time. And, still be able to have that same kind of mindset going into it and being consistent. But yeah, you're 100% right, where it could, go shift the other way of, okay, I'm here, I'm doing this. Now you gotta give me something, which may not be something that you want, or it looks like jumping 7.5. It could be, the agony of defeat, of not having anything and still being able to do it. And no one kind of knows what that looks like. Knows what the future holds. All right. So you do that meet, you're in Tucson, you do that. How does your college career end? Like, how does that kind of finish out?
Yeah. After that, I had 2 more meets of the season, went to nationals, and didn't have the best meet. I think I ended up jumping like 7 foot.
How did that go? You go 7.5 to 7 foot at nationals.
Yeah, it was just one of those like didn't have the best day, and that's how it goes in track. It's hard to show up every meet and jump high. There's a lot of things that have to go well. It's like power cleaning and trying to shoot a bow and arrow at the same time. Like it has to be accurate, but it also has to be like extremely strong.
I love that analogy. That is a great analogy that I've never thought about before. Power cleaning and shooting a bow and arrow at the same time.
Yeah, just imagine like the accuracy has to be there, but also the explosiveness does too.
Wow.
Go to that meet. Oh, go ahead.
No, how was that? I was gonna say, how was that mindset going into that meet? Were you able to have that, trying to carry that over, kind of, as we talk about later, copy pasting? Were you able to copy paste a little bit of like, okay, here's my routine, this is what I did, let me try to do this for nationals as well?
Yeah, it was copy paste. Did the same thing, had the same routine, and it really felt like, man, like I could go in here and place pretty well. I think I was like ranked 5 going into that meet, so I was like, yeah, like let's get in there. Top 8 is a first team All-American, so that was the goal. And then I think we ended up taking like 12th or 13th, something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Okay. So
So
you went to
yeah,
nationals, and then was that kind of like finishing your career out at GCU?
yeah, yeah. So that was my last outdoor season. Had another indoor from COVID. So
Okay.
had that one where started the Bible study and went through that season. But after that meet was the Olympic trials. So went to the Olympic trials, was super excited. Was like, man, just had a bad meet here. It was at U of O, both the NCAA championships and the Olympic trials. So came right back, and I was like, all right, my last meet wasn't great, but let's have a great meet this time. I really just felt so in tune with the Lord going into that meet. And I was like, man, God, like whatever you want to use me for here, like it is all for you. It is all for you. And just like looked to a couple different athletes. Trayvon Bromell is a sprinter for the U.S. that like always gives glory to the Lord, and Sydney McLaughlin. She's like an amazing 400-meter hurdler and sprinter, and she's always thanking the Lord. And like, man, I just like want to use my voice like these people do. So I come into the meet and just keep feeling the Lord put on my heart, like I don't need you on the camera. I don't need you like proclaiming my name. I just need you to love your competitors. And I was kind of confused by that because I was like, man, like God, I can love my competitors and I can be on this camera. Like it's
And I
gonna be
could beat them.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll beat them. Yeah, all right, all of it. So I just went to that meet and I was like, God, like I am gonna focus on being kind. Obviously, I love to compete, so of course I'm gonna compete to the best of my ability. But like my number one priority, because you put it on my heart, is to love these people around me. And I did. I felt like I was very focused on like how can I make these people just feel loved that they're here. Um, Ended up with letters instead of numbers at the end of that meet, in no height in H. So didn't even clear the opening bar of 7 foot, which is really like it was just really tough coming into that meet and being like, oh, I'm ready to be at the Olympic trials and like give this a shot to go to the Olympics. And then after 3 jumps, I was out of the competition. So
Wow.
it was really, really bittersweet.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel like I mean, you want to go in there with two goals. One is to love others, and the other one was to compete. Obviously, the numbers show it's a pass fail. It's not like, well, I had 3 rebounds, like, you weren't able to, kind
Yeah.
of do that. Our team won, kind of a thing. It's a very individual, like pass fail kind of a thing. How do you feel like you were able
Mhm.
to still love on people even in those moments?
Yeah, I think I took a few moments and I was like extremely disappointed. And then just felt the Lord like encourage me and like speak to my soul, like job's not finished. Job's not finished. So kept loving everybody and like really felt just so like uplifted to uplift others. And then finished the competition, left, went to dinner, very like uplifting to my coach and my teammates, and got back to the hotel room and it just like crushed. Like it just like as soon as I was alone, nobody else around me to encourage, is just like wow, this sinking feeling of like I gave it everything and I got last place.
Wow. Yeah, that is crushing. Um, yeah, and even with that disappointment, I mean, I think disappointment is a very valid emotion that can be, um, that is okay. I mean, to go, I tried really hard. I did this. I was prepared as I could, and the results didn't go my way. I'm
Mm-hmm.
allowed to be disappointed. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes people will justify things. Be like, I shouldn't be disappointed because, X, Y, and Z. Like I'm healthy, I'm good. Why should I be disappointed about something that I thought, I was working towards and then it didn't happen? But I think it's a super healthy emotion to go, oh, where do I go from here? Like, what does this look like? And not kind of go, lean into that a little bit more and have that low. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. Where did you kind of go? What was kind of after that? Now that you go, okay, disappointing, bottom of the barrel, this sucks. Where did it go from there?
Yeah, I planned a month-long road trip post Olympic trials. I was like, I'm gonna go on this road trip around the Western United States. Like, if I make the Olympics, I'll drop it. If any other outcome, like I'll go on this 31-day road trip. And finished the Olympic trials, and I was like, I'm not going on this road trip. I needed to train. Like, after that, like, I just need to get back to work. And talk to a few people, and they encouraged me, like, you need to get off the track and you need to let your brain rest. And the best way to do that is to go and like enjoy nature and just be with friends on this road trip. So I go on this like 30-day road trip, and I just feel so loved by the Lord, and I could get to spend some time with some awesome people, and just have this just amazing like experience in the Western United States at these great places. And I remember in Denver, me and some friends just got invited to this upper room worship night, and let me see if I can find it. But I have a prayer that I had wrote. I don't even at this point like. I know that it was super impactful, but it's like hard to even remember what I wrote in that prayer. But maybe we can get it here.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time and find it. You found a prayer that's similar. We could not find the actual one from the upper room, but if we do end up finding it, we're going to put it in the show notes later. But so if you check there back later, we might put it in there. But he's got one that's similar.
Yeah. So similar prayer. I wrote. I used to want to be the best at track. Now I just want to make Jesus' love known to everyone I compete with. On this mission, on this, I have found a love for what I do. It's not a job anymore, it's a mission. Thank you, Jesus, for track. Thank you, Jesus, for my teammates. And thank you, Jesus, for the people who have gotten me through.
Wow.
My life is changing from like, I just want to win and be loved to like, I'm already loved. Like, let's just give this our all.
Absolutely. This kind of reminds me of people I talk to, playing college sports. You have those people who go, oh, if I only, they can't watch another. I play baseball, so they can't watch another baseball game because they're just so bitter to the sport because there was a coach, an injury. I was better than that other person, and why is he, in the minor leagues or in the major leagues? And so it's always interesting to hear some like post letdown or post career kind of stuff to go, how are you doing with that? How are you processing it? Because you spend so much time and energy and effort and identity. I mean, we can talk about identity and spend an hour talking about identity, but like the identity of where do you find it, and trying to balance that to, and you can see from your prayer, it's going, oh, if my identity is being loved by God, be loved by Jesus, then therefore this is how action it should look. And so that's such a beautiful prayer, a beautiful moment to be able to like, yep, no matter what happens, I'm good.
Yeah, and that was the sentiment at Upper Room. It was like, whoa, like I don't have anything to prove. I'm already super loved by the Lord, and all the people that I felt like I let down, and all the like dreams that I felt like had been crushed, like all of them felt resurrected in Christ, and all of them felt like there's hope for a future. Yeah, it's just awesome.
It's great. So road trip, Upper Room. You're still. When does it decide? Like, all right, I think I'm gonna keep doing this.
Yeah, so I have one more indoor season. start that Bible study, do that, and I'm like, wow, this is so much more life-giving than going to the Olympic trials. So just have this realization that, like, man, no matter how long I'm in this sport, like, all glory is going to God, and any opportunity that I can have to help other people along the way, like, I want to take that opportunity. So going to that season, jump really high, really early. Like my second meet of the season, I jumped 7.4. So really excited about that, and like on track to jump pretty high. About to go to our conference meet. I bruised my bone in my foot that is like right where you plant for the high jump. Go get an MRI on it, no breaks, just a deep bone bruise. So we go, do we train it and risk just not healing at all, or do we take some time off and like risk detraining before conference and before the national championship? And we realized like 0 movements hurt it besides high jump. It was just that placement of the foot, the way that it placed and just jammed your foot into the ground. So we trained everything except for high jump. We took 4 weeks off of high jump before the national championship. Went to USA's and was going to jump on it. USA indoors is a lot less important than outdoors. So it's a little bit smaller of a meet. There's not a whole lot of collegiate competitors. Go to that in Spokane, warm up on it, and then decide like this isn't worth jumping. It's hurting. So then don't jump at that meet. Then go to conference and feeling pretty good, warming up on it, and then one of the warm up jumps hit it and just re-aggravated it completely. I think I took 2nd or 3rd place at that meet.
Wow.
Ended up jumping, I think 7 foot. So jumped there and just like kind of just gritted through the pain and just completely rested until the national championship. Got on some like pretty heavy medicine to try to get it to calm down and get it healing, get it through the process, and then went to nationals, and it was like a super weird experience because I was ranked number 2 in the nation going into that meet, but it had been like 2 weeks since I had high jumped at conference, and then another like 3 or 4 since I had high jumped before that. So it was like 6 weeks, and the only time I had jumped was once. So went to that meet and jumped and took 9th place, and one of those like had to take a risk either way. I think we made the right decision, but it was just hard when you get injured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. So you got done with that, got 9th, and then where went from where did it go from there? That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. So after that, my collegiate career is over. Was really bummed because 9th is 1 place off of that first team All-American.
Oh.
So you go from getting this pretty cool trophy, this NCAA trophy, to getting like a piece of paper that's like, hey, you're 2nd team All-American. Congrats. So
you're the first of the 2nd team All-American. You're number 1
yes,
and first
exactly.
2nd team All-American.
Yep. Exactly. So I was pretty bummed because I was like, man, that's my last track meet as a collegiate competitor. Knew that I wanted to train through this upcoming Olympics. So kept training into outdoor, jumped okay, and then I trained at Chula Vista for the summer. That's the Olympic Training Center in California. I trained with Jeremy Fisher there, super awesome dude, very knowledgeable and helped me a ton. Was struggling with some like hamstring tightness that was causing some like spinal tension. So it was like probably TMI, but sitting down on the toilet or like standing up on the toilet was like super excruciating. Like just the act of getting up and down. So went
Well,
to a
I'll think
PT
about
out
that time.
there
I'll think about that
that,
next time I go to the bathroom. Is using my hamstrings.
yeah, hey, don't take it for granted.
I don't take it for granted.
Yeah. They introduced me to a few different ways to like strengthen my back and release it. One way is called Eldoa. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's this like French technique to release tension in the spine. So it uses your like musculature to actually pull apart and create some separation in between different vertebrae. So there's like different Eldoa exercises that work on different segments of the spine, and started doing that. And that was like the only thing that would cause any relief. So for that, also, I was off the track for a while, went to USA's, and I think I no-heighted that meet too. So it was tough going and being like, wow, the last two times that I've been at Outdoor USA's at the University of Oregon, I have no-heighted.
Yeah, that's that's when you have people who start to say like, I don't do well there. Give me another outdoor track. Is it something about the
Right.
cushiness of it? Is it the it's too green, it's too much in the Northwest, but yeah, how do you feel like or how do you get past that of like, you have a bad experience at one place and you have to go back and perform again there?
Yeah, I think it was really difficult after that meet because throughout my whole life I've felt like, okay, I can jump pretty well, I can compete pretty well, whatever sport I'm in, but like when I'm in the championship, like nobody's gonna outcompete me. Like I just felt like one of those competitors that like crazy stuff happens at nationals or like at the championship competition, and then me going to Outdoor USA's and getting like 12th, and me going to indoor and getting 9th, and going to the Olympic trials and no hiding, and then going to Outdoor USA's and no hiding. Like all of these things are happening, and I'm like, man, have I lost it? Like, do I just not have that competitive edge in big meets anymore? And really like started to question myself, and I think only got through it based with like the mindset of like, I can only give what I can give at a certain meet. And like, if I have the mindset that I'm going to give everything that I can every meet, then it's going to result in the best case scenario for me. Not the best possible case scenario in the universe or whatever, but the best possible case scenario for who I am right now. And that's been super beneficial because it builds this like every meet matters.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump the best that I can at every meet. And obviously with pressure, like they say, like it's going to make you 15% better or 15% worse. Like there's somewhere in there, like pressure can hurt people, pressure can help people. And being able to have that mindset of like every meet that I go into, I'm going to just act like it's a big meet. Like it's not going to result in that, because small meets are small meets and big meets are big meets, but it's going to result in the best meet that could have been. So that's been really cool to have that mindset and track. This last year has been super difficult. Just like I'm working full time and I'm training after work, and it was just like this work from 8 to 5, and then 5 p.m. like got to bring it. So that was pretty taxing, and did that for a year, reevaluated throughout the off season, and just realized like, okay, track needs to happen first, because it takes a whole lot of motivation to show up and give my all for a practice, but it doesn't take a lot of energy for the rest of the day. Where like the opposite's true, like work like doesn't take a whole lot of motivation to show up every day, but at the end of it, I'm cashed out. So just decided to flip the two after the season, I ended up training like once or twice a week. So didn't train very often. Didn't touch a barbell for the whole season. Was kind of like debating like is a barbell exercise worth it? Is it not worth it? Like obviously there's pros to it, but also your body like takes a beating, and your spinal musculature takes a beating too. So at the end of evaluating that at the end of the season, I realized like, yeah, I think there's a reason that barbell lifts have been around so long, and how squats have come in and out, but that's a whole nother conversation. The end of the day, like I trained like twice a week.
Okay.
So trained like twice a week, went into USA's, felt really healthy, obviously. Like my body was pretty like ready to go. And it was interesting. I like kind of explained it like the year before, I felt like this muscle car that didn't have like a whole lot of control, but had a whole lot of engine. And then this last year felt more like a Porsche, something that's like, okay, like isn't super loud all the time, and it doesn't necessarily like have the most horsepower, but like can handle really well.
Mm-hmm.
So going into this season, just trying to figure out like how do I get both? Because I felt like everything that I could give to my approach into the high jump was there, but I didn't have enough. Where in years prior, like I felt like I had plenty of power to jump super high, but didn't have the control to implement that into the high jump. So yeah, going into this season, where me and some people are just figuring out like how do we get both of those? Like how do we stay healthy and be really powerful athletes that can translate all of it to the track?
Yeah. How do you, now that you're in this world of like not training all the time and doing work and doing, training, what are some things that you, from everyone talks about productivity. Everyone wants to talk about how to get more out of every day. What are some things that had a shift for
Yep.
you from a productivity standpoint? And I say that too because we talk about productivity all the time offline of doing different things of. So
Yep.
what is it, something that you have during the shift of going, all right, these are the things I need to really hone in now because my time is now gone from like this to be able to train to like this?
All time isn't equal, I think, is something that I've really realized this last year. Time at 6 a.m. isn't equivalent to time at 10 a.m., isn't equivalent to time at 5 p.m., isn't equivalent to time to 10 p.m. So I think I've been listening to a lot of Andrew Huberman. He's where I get a lot of this from. And realizing what time is beneficial for what activities has been really helpful for productivity, especially in track and field. Like the morning is really good for things that are require motivation, but are really straightforward. So there's a really straightforward path to training. I have to go there, and then I have to do all my training exercises, and hopefully I do all of those at whatever intensity I'm supposed to. That's really straightforward, but it's not super easy to show up and want to give 100% to each exercise. Where like work is, especially creative work, is something that like isn't straightforward at all, but doesn't necessarily take a whole lot of motivation all the time. Is sometimes really easy to hop into, but like you can get lost in. So they'd say like the later hours in the day are better for that because the barrier to entry is lower, but your mind is more creative. Cool. So yeah, the first part of the day, there's this like eat the frog, just get it done, and do all these things that you don't have to be super creative for. Last part of the day, try to get all like of the more complex tasks that I'm more likely to want to jump into. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've been learning about productivity recently.
That's great. I'm a Huberman fan But I love that you said all time is not equal, because I think I feel the same way with some things like 10 a.m. is like the thing that I need to do. That's the hardest thing that I don't want to do. I need to do it at 10 a.m. because that's
Mhm.
when I feel like I'm the most motivated and I have the most capacity to do it. So that's really interesting. I have not dove into that very much of all time is not equal and where to do certain tasks. Because sometimes I'll fall into like whatever the thing is stressing me out the most, I'm just going to get that done so I don't have to think about it anymore.
Mhm.
Or so there's different things throughout the day. But I love what you said about the more straightforward things in the morning, and kind of the more creative things in the afternoon. Because I do feel that way too. Like in the afternoon, it's like, oh hey, I want to work on that project that I just need to start on and kind of put together
Mhm.
rather than um, just kind of put it off. Um, that's great.
Yeah, I think that's something that I've really enjoyed about Huberman is he has all this scientifically backed stuff, but um, anecdotally, all this stuff to me makes sense.
Hmm.
And it's cool to put like a scientific term to these things that I feel and see like, oh wow, like it actually does make a difference to get sunlight in the morning because of this scientific reason. But like anecdotally, I just feel way better throughout the day.
Correct, and it helps you go to someplace too. I actually did that this morning because I wasn't feeling was off this morning and was like, okay, I just need to go and do something. Like even though I didn't want to do it, all right, let me go do my routine, jump in the sauna here. But then I was like, I need to get sunlight. I really need to get sunlight today. And so that
Mhm.
was really important for me, was to be outside and get sunlight, and that made me feel a lot better. Got me out of whatever kind of funk I was in. But it was like, let me go to something. Let me go do something. Just to kind of, because we're probably going to do another podcast together at some point. Um, but just to kind of wrap this up, because we're over an hour long into this conversation with you and your journey, and I'm so thankful that you're sharing this with me, and hopefully people can get value out of your story and what you've done. You've overcome things, you've persevered through things, you've been intentional about things, you've wanted just to get better, not only like physically, emotionally, but importantly spiritually as well. Trying to see like priorities and yeah, just to learn. You're a learner, which is so awesome. I know we talk about copy and pasting. Learn something from somebody
Mhm.
else, I want to apply it to my life. Learn something from somebody else, apply it to my life. What are probably just a few things that you have practically learned in your life, that you're in your daily routine, that you're like, yep, I've copy and paste this, and like sunlight, getting sunlight, that is
Mhm.
something absolutely that I've been able to do, or moving your body in the morning, or these types of things. You're like, yep, I feel better when I do this. What are some things, excuse me, that you have seen in your life that you're like, yep, these are the top three things, even if it's like the last 6 months. So you're like, yep, this is what I'm
Mhm.
pursuing.
Yeah, just to give some context to copy and pasting, there's a lot of characteristics or routines or whatnot that we might want to take part of from someone or use or maybe don't use. We see something that we do not want to use, and it kind of goes back to the reflect or reject principle. Um, but there's very very few things that I see and I'm like, I want to copy and paste that. Like I don't need to write anything in there or change anything. Like I just want to copy and paste exactly what that is. Um, Not to get sappy, but something that you do that's copy and paste for me is just your hospitality. You guys do such a cool job of inviting people in, and whoever it is, it's an environment where everybody feels absolutely welcome. I think that's a hard balance, especially when there's like new people and there's old people, and feeling like, oh, I'm juggling these different types of relationships. You just go, everybody's going to be friends here, and everybody's welcome, and there's nothing off limits. Just make yourself at home. That's something that you do really well. And in us doing the community dinners, like we want to copy and paste the kind of characteristics that you have. For clarification, community dinner is something we host first Sunday of the month. We have like a neighborhood we have 3 houses in the same neighborhood of people, a total of 19 people. And every month we have a dinner where people can invite whoever they want. And it's just a place where our friends' friends can become our friends. So we do that sort of as a copy and paste from the way that you invite people into your life. So yeah, that's not the productivity route, but that's something that comes to mind when I think of copy and paste.
I appreciate that. I think it's no, I just appreciate that. I think I've learned that from copy pasting other people of my parents, and just seeing how they've been super hospitable and just inviting people in and being a part of people's lives. So I think we all copy and paste from other people too. So I can't say I've created any of that, but I appreciate that. I'm glad that's carried over into other aspects of just how our family's been able to do it. My wife and I have been able to do it, and people have seen it and ran with it for the action. So I appreciate that. Any more just to wrap it up?
Any more copy and paste?
Yeah. Or do you want to leave it there?
Let's see. Let's talk something copy paste for track. I think that'd be a good place to end it.
Do it. Go copy paste for track.
Yeah, to give more context specific to track for copy and pasting. Like I said earlier, there's 2 national champions that were at Colorado Mesa. And early in my career, I was like, well, I should probably listen to what they have to say if I also want to be good at this sport. So one of them, I just took the copy and paste to show up every day and take every action that you possibly can to get better. And then the other was a multi, which if you know anything about a multi in track and field, they do 7 events indoor and 10 events outdoor. So their body is constantly getting thrashed by the track. And he just took recovery so seriously. Like as soon as he was off the track, he was supplementing, he was eating right, he was recovering. So that combo was really helpful for me early in track with a pole vaulter that was just like, let's get after it and do everything that we possibly can on the track. And then this guy that was more like nitty gritty in the details of like, okay, the more that we can train, the better we're going to get. So how can we take care of our bodies off the track? So those 2 combined, Spencer and Nolan, they shaped a lot of how my track career has gone.
That's great. I think you can really apply that to anybody's life too. Is recovery or rest or relaxation is so important. In what you do is it's not just time spent. I worked hard, 12 hours. It's like, okay, what'd you do in those 12 hours? And having that rest and recovery time is so important to the next day or just the longevity of trying to, mind, body, spirit type of things. Well, this was great. This was fantastic. I mean, we easily went over an hour of talking about your story and what you've been able to. I'm going to take, all time is not equal. I'm going to really kind of apply that to my routine and what I'm doing. But I love your heart. I love everything about your direction that you're going in, and it's just such a fun thing to be able to see from the outside looking, having a front row seat to Ethan and all the fun things you get to do. So thank you so much for your time spending here, recording this, being here. And just want to say thank you for everything.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on the podcast. And I really appreciate your friendship. You're a dear friend to me.
You too. All right. Well, until next time, this is the Calm Waves podcast, and signing off for now.